Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another edition of our weekly real estate backstory. We do this every Monday morning right around 9 o'clock. And we got to start off the week with comings and goings, things happening in the real estate world, and anything that we can do to try and help guide you and advise you through it. My name is Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker here at Maximum Realty and Realtor Partners.
My name is Ming Richardson, the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
And thanks for joining us again. We appreciate you guys taking some time out of your busy weeks. We kind of want to start off today and jump into something that is really, really practical. I got some information in that Zillow right now is getting 200 million visitors a month.
Unique visitors
Every month, 200 million. And so, for us, it's all about building relationships, and one of the biggest ways that we can engage and really share content and show usefulness is to really share properties with our clients. And so, we need to be sharing more and more properties out there, because like there's only so much of me going out onto the web and be like, hey, Alan's amazing, you should work with me. Did you know Ming's awesome, you should work with her. And here's another way that I bring value, right? and oh my goodness, I am so amazing here. Have you seen the other closing I just did? Like that kind of stuff gets really, really old. I'm just, I hate to break it to you, but you need to tone that ego down. And one of the biggest things that we can do is to share property. When properties come on the market, anytime that we have property listings, that kind of stuff, it's a really, really big deal.
Absolutely. And we share with our sphere influences as well as through the normal means and Georgia MLS and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if you can just share out there other than just bragging, hey, I got this award, blah, blah, blah. Awards are very nice. It really, truly is. But when everybody else is publishing, they're getting an award from a certain source, it gets a little bit inundated and it gets old.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they want to know, what did you do uniquely to sell the property? How fast did you sell it? How was it, overall?
Well, I mean, we definitely want to talk about our experiences, but the other thing that we really like to do is we like to use new listings and sharing property information as a way to determine clients' interest in, because at any one given time, only 3% of our market is actively buying and selling. And so that means you're marketing to all 100% of your sphere, your friends, your acquaintances, prospects, the whole 9 yards. But how do you tell who's really interested and who's serious? Because, you just don't know. It's that husband, wife, somebody comes home and just like, hey, it's time to buy. We got to do that.
And it's sometimes when you share to your sphere, and even though a person may not be in the market for purchase, but when they see that, they might think, hey, you know what? We may looking at this.
Well, but what we really find is that when clients look at properties, they're interested. Like when you send to your prospect list, to your database, a list of properties, and they continue to, and they don't open those up, they're not interested.
They're not interested.
But if you'll just pay attention to the folks that are actively opening your property alerts, looking at properties, those are the folks that are interested. So rather than just like, oh, I wonder who's doing this kind of thing, I wonder who's interested in buying, you've got to,
honestly, a good CRM is a key actually to success. If you have a good CRM that tells you, hey, who's actively engaging, who's not, then you can concentrate on those that are engaging.
And by the way, ours starts on the 17th, where KV Court rolls out on the 17th. Absolutely. Here kind of thing. So, right now there's a lot of talk about some folks are completely impervious to what's going on in Ukraine. Other folks are complete news hounds, like me, like I'm a news geek kind of thing. But we do need to talk briefly about what's going to happen, or how the Russia-Ukraine conflict thing really can affect housing here in the US. And it really has already started to affect housing in Russia, because prior to 1991, no one in Russia could really own property, but since 1991, they've
They're
started to have
property owners. Yeah.
started to have personal property rights, which is interesting, which is why China's been so powerful. The Chinese economy has come so strong, and Russia's economy has come a long way. But guess what? Interest rates, since this whole thing happened, guess what the interest rate in Russia is? It's between 16 and 20%.
The inflation's high.
Oh,
the
yeah.
rubles are right now not worth. I mean,
A whole
the
lot.
value has dropped.
But
tremendously.
for what does that mean for housing here in the U.S. though? Because I mean, we can speculate all day about what's going on in Russia, but it really doesn't count that much for Atlanta. But here, are we going to see gas prices and inflation issues? Absolutely. These are going to be things that we see both in fuel and energy costs as well as in food costs, because even though we don't get a lot of food from Ukraine, the rest of the world does. And so anytime that you lower that supply, same reason only 8% of our fuel comes from Ukraine, but the rest of the world does. And so that's more draw out there on it. The other here biggie is that, and we're kind of seeing it, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. And that is, as weird as it sounds, interest rates drop. Right? That doesn't make any kind of sense, but on one hand it doesn't, but it does
make sense, because what they're trying to do is create one, control inflation, and two, by dropping the interest rate, and two, have some type of stability here, honestly.
Well, really what happens is when the markets go haywire and the market's just like, I mean, everything's going everywhere right now. Well, for the investors, that moves them into treasury bonds, and interest rates are based on the 10-year treasury. And so when there's more people buying, there's more pressure on it, prices go lower. That's helping to keep interest rates low. Guess what? They're not going to stay that way. So we need to really be very much ready for that. If your
client is looking at buying, selling, please, or actually buying, please get them locked into interest
rate. And selling too, because if you're going to sell, you're going to buy as well. So
normally,
yeah, I mean,
some people have multi-homes.
That's true. Okay. All right. I've been corrected. All right. Spring buying season is here, and it's really kind of kicked off. And so we kind of wanted to share kind of exactly what's kind of going on with a series of slides and what's happening. But hey, guess what? Spring buying season is here, and it is on fire, and we're very appreciative of it. And so that being said, let's talk about really what we're talking about here. And so this is kind of no real shocker here. This is what home values have done
between 2021
and heading into 2022.
And you see that incline, it's not going down.
We're not looking at a drop. At the same time, median sale price is up around 16% year over year. Now, these are national numbers here right now.
That's not Atlanta, national.
But we are seeing a lot of the same trends here in the Atlanta market. Now,
well, right now, anything less than 300,000 is what I call unicorn. That's move-in ready.
It's hard to find right now. Now, one thing that we are seeing is the median mortgage payment is now up 23%. That's massive. Okay, and that has tied along heavily with the rise in property values. But the other thing we're seeing is, interest rates are up almost a full percentage point from where they were a year or two ago.
Well, actually in December.
Yeah.
I mean, just in December.
So, both of those are, not only property value appreciations, but also rising interest rates. That's going to continue to be a factor moving forward. So with the interest rates dropping right now, we shouldn't sit on the sidelines if we have active buyers. Pending sales are they're up a tick over last year. And so you can kind of see that we're following into a really similar trend to last year. I mean, like we are hugging last year's trends. Even if you look from even the summer of last year all the way through to now, we have pretty much mimicked prior year. We had another really good fall. We had a really good winter, and now we're heading into our normal spring summer buying season. Active listings, however, this is where it's a little bit different. Active listings are down 24% year over year, which was down 26% in 2021. And it was even down in 2020 kind of thing. So, we are, the number of homes on the market. This is where our biggest challenge is that we just don't have enough inventory. If we had more inventory, right now we've had 3 months where pending sales have been trending down, not because we don't have buyers, not because people aren't interested in it's just because we don't have houses to sell. 58% of our pending sales are under contract within 2 weeks. And so we share this because this is a barometer for you listing agents. If your house isn't under contract in a couple of weeks,
You're listed too high.
it's
Either
really it's
that,
price.
either that, sometimes it's not a price, it's about the condition of
Well,
property.
it's always price
too.
versus condition. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the price may comp for the neighborhood, but if your house has so much deferred maintenance, at some point, the buyer's not gonna,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be worth it.
Well, and so, we're seeing that about 44% of homes sold above list price, which is higher than it has been for the last 2 years.
Mhm.
So we're seeing more and more homes continuing to go over list price. Look, there's all kinds of folks talking about the housing market cooling off. You can see
It's not.
it, like now.
And there are a lot of programs like Ribbon and a couple
But
others.
the other thing that we see is that, normal real estate data takes 3 to 4 months. These homes, these sold homes, a lot of these were put under contract last year. They're just now starting to come back onto the market. And so we are going to start seeing some downticks and some slowing here a little bit, but it's not going to be massive. 3% of our listings had price drops, which is less than 2020, but it's more than what we had in 2021. So we are seeing where some folks are not being realistic with their price, and so we're seeing where a higher percentage of folks go out there and put in unrealistic prices. Our spring buying group is going to be millennials. 35% of millennials are planning on buying in the next year. So
Well, that's because they're tired of renting, paying the money out and not.
and rents have been through the roof.
It has been.
But for agents, you go out, millennial 1, millennial 2, millennial 3, buyer, millennial 1, millennial 2, millennial 3, buyer. Okay, these are folks that are wanting to buy. And guess what? They also know what's going on in the market out there.
And
So
they're the tech savvy age.
they are. We need to be really
actually, they're the information age.
Now, also, we also set, which is not necessarily great news, home prices set a new record ahead of spring buying. This is for the Atlanta market. And so our median list price is $390,000. I mean, I know I'm old, but it hadn't been that long ago that it was 300,000. I can remember when it was under 300,000.
It used to be 150.
Yeah.
We can't get homes
a long time. But this is the
ago.
average median list price in Atlanta kind of thing. And so our median list price year over year is about 7.6.
It's a little higher.
Well, this is all of us. This is all, that's our MSA is Atlanta, Sandy Springs, Roswell. It's all put together. Active listing counts are down about 17%. New listing counts are down 1% from last year. We're averaging 37 days on the market in the Atlanta area, which is 5 days less than it was last year. So even though we're like, hey, it's going to be easing up, we're still 5 days on the market less than we were last year. And if you weren't here last year, things were on fire.
Yes, it was.
Let's see, what did I just do? There we go. We're gonna. So at the same time, there are several of the the national groups out there. So Reuters held a poll, looking at U.S. house price rising and inflation, and it, we've been looking at really 3 to 4% price appreciation. What a lot of folks are looking at is much closer to 10%. Reuters has been polling economists and things like that. But because spring is starting off so strong and we're moving right into a hot and heavy buying season through the summer, they're looking at another 10% this year. And I was really hoping we were much closer to the 4 to 5% range, but they may be actually closer than we are, because we run in double digits, or more than double digits, in the 15-16% range for both January and February. So that is going to level off. That is going to average out. Fed is going to be raising rates. So we are going to have some downward pressure on the real estate market here coming up. But one of the biggest things that helps us is jobs. And so, see, jobs has really, like especially coming out of the pandemic, the coronavirus. This graph here shows what's really kind of happened with jobs, and jobs drives everything. Everything works off jobs, and so for housing, for the economy, the whole 9 yards, it's all really driven by jobs. And so you can see what happened with the Great Recession, how long it took for us to come out of that. All those other light browns, all those are all the other recessions that we've had in the past. So of course, we saw a much more severe recession for coronavirus where it just completely dropped, but we've also seen a much faster
Turnaround, recovery time.
rebound. And so, Lawrence Yun, he went out and he's talking about a lot about jobs as well right now, kind of thing. And so, a lot of the monetary policy it's been focused on inflation, but that's because jobs has been really, really good. Right now, some of the jobs in the oil sector and in
Oh, yeah.
energy is really down. Well, I think we're going to see that kind of start to
That's
change
gonna-
around here
yeah.
as well, kind of thing. One place where we are starting to see some really good information when it comes to jobs is in the construction trades. There's now 314,000 more workers in construction than there were in 2020. We need more housing. And if you just look around, there's projects going everywhere.
Yes.
So that's something that we really, really need. At the same time, about 40% of West Coast tech jobs are advertising outside of West Coast. And guess where Georgia comes in? Number 4. So first is Texas, then Virginia, which is the DC area, New York, and then Georgia comes in right there at number 4. So we are, as far as the number of jobs and that kind of stuff, that's a really good thing for us. At the same time, we're seeing where office space is, and I know that seems weird, but and this correlates, can't say that real well, but when folks go in the office, more stuff gets done. And so office space is being absorbed more. So we're seeing more and more people going out into the office. And when more and more people are out there working in the office, they're producing more goods and services. That continues to keep our economy really, really strong. So inflation, I'm not a fan of inflation. Inflation is bad, but people working is really, really good. Now, when it comes to office space, this is a national trend. Well, how's Atlanta? I'm glad you asked. So we are the 5th highest on positive net absorption. Now, that what positive net absorption means is which are the markets where office space is getting filled up the fastest. And so we're the 5th fastest in the United States. So Boston, Austin, Texas, California. By the way, those same things we saw with the tech jobs, we got to see the same things with the office. And by the way, if you're if you've been keeping up with the news, Google, Facebook, all these other kind of stuff, all going back to the office as well.
Yep.
For real estate agents, I implore you, even if you're not going to go into your physical office, have a place where you go in and you get work done. When you go in, that's your place to go work. Don't try and do your work from sitting at the kitchen table or the coffee table.
It never works.
You don't get stuff done. Foreign commercial investments is up almost 50% from a year ago. And guess, because you can come into the US again, but guess who's the number 2 market where more commercial investments. Now, these are commercial investments. These are not folks that were fighting for residential properties, but commercial investments. Atlanta is the number 2 market in the United States where more commercial investment money's coming in. And again, when you have commercial investment, you have jobs. When you have jobs, you have a stronger economy. And that's really good news for our real estate market. So I want to keep that's really good news. I'm glad to see that kind of thing. Mortgages. Now, we talked about mortgages this past week, and now mortgage rates. Thank you. Mortgage rates dropped this past week. 3.76 is where they came in, and so not a huge drop. Well, I mean, it's almost a quarter of a point. So I mean, not a minor drop by any means, but take advantage of this. This is the time. Strike while this iron is hot. Okay. Right now with all, if you're keeping a track of the markets look like an Etch-a-Sketch, right? They're just kind of going all over the place. Nothing makes any kind of sense. And so are these things going up? Yeah, you better believe they're going up. The other thing is that, the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, he said last week in front of Congress, look, I'm expecting to take a quarter point. And so that's that federal funds rate, which is going to affect things like credit cards and what companies can borrow money for and banks can borrow money for. That is going to slow some things down. It's going to have a trickle down kind of effect into mortgages as well. And it's going to have a trickle down effect into a lot of things. They're doing it to try and stymie inflation, but it's going to slow real estate a little bit as well. Now, one of those things that kind of with this kind of going on, we want to give you a little bit of tips on what
how to help buyer improve their credit score right now.
Yeah.
So
number 1,
Pay your bill on time.
10 I know it's like rocket science. Like no one thought about that.
Yeah, well, and also, a lot of people doesn't realize when you utilize your credit a card, if you're 10% or lower, that will achieve much higher FICA credit score.
Yeah, the highest FICO credit scores have only a 7% credit utilization rate. And basically it means that you're only using about 10% of the available credit that you can use. Well, what the red flags are the folks that have $5,000 worth of credit and they're using $4,999 worth of that credit. Those are bad signs. So you really want, so if you've got $50,000 of credit, you should only be using about $5,000 of it, kind of thing. I'll let you go.
So also leave your old account open, because what happened is they track also how long you had credit, and that is worth some weight in the overall credit score.
Well, it also affects your credit utilization rate. So if you have old credit that you want to close, well, now you have less credit available.
Actually, when you close your credit card, it has a negative effect, just so you know.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's true.
For us, it's about house cleaning. We're not utilizing on this credit card, don't need it, and what have you. But at the end of the day, it actually has a negative effect. Take advantage of score boosting program.
Yeah, like Equifax has those kind of things can help out as well.
So only apply for credit card you need, not just because
you need $5 off at Kohl's.
Well, yeah, or can I give you 30% off on your purchase today? Or 20%. Those are the one that's gonna put you in a trap.
Yep.
Be patient, y'all. Credit is like anything else. It takes time to build. Okay. And also please monitor your credit.
Yeah. Freecreditreport.com or annualcreditreport.com. That's
correct.
It. That's the one that's completely free out there.
Yeah. Credit Karma, they actually charge you. Matter of fact, their overall, when you're looking at for buying houses, Credit Karma's middle score does not match the lender's middle score, just so you know.
So, and then check your credit report for errors and try and get anything removed off there that you can. So right now, our average mortgage holder has $185,000 in equity. Now, we talk about credit, we're talking about the equity because, one of the things that got us into the issues that we had in 2006 was everyone got leveraged out the yin yang.
Wow. Yeah, they took out everything that they had in the house to pay off the debt or bought more things or having more disposable income, I guess.
But the rules are different now. Used to be you could take a lot of equity out of your house back then. The banks are not doing that this time. We have much different lending standards now on how much equity that you can take out of a home. But also we want to encourage people to be wise, like so much of our wealth is tied up in home ownership. And so hanging on to that wealth is an important step out there in doing that. So it's not just about treating, that whole rich dad, poor dad thing, a home as an asset, that you can use. But for the average American, that's wealth. That's where your homeowner, that's where your wealth is tied up into. So be very careful about that, I guess is what I'm saying. How long we stay in a place has been changing. And so we've seen where overall in the US and even on some of my classes, I've been sharing information where, it's been running, 6 to 7 years. But I got some new information that says that here in the Atlanta area, that we're still staying in a home about 10 years, 9.8 years is where we've been. And by the way, it's been that way for about 10 years as well. Since 2012, we were staying in the home for 10.3 years. Now we're staying at 9.8 years, slightly less.
It depends. I mean, there are I see some clients that
these are averages.
Yeah, averages that has taken advantage of this, I guess, uptick of a market on a home when they have multiple homes. So they're selling one off and keeping the other.
Yeah. Now, this is the tax delinquency rate by state. And so Georgia comes in pretty much right in the middle, across the board. It goes from a low of 1.2% to a high of 15%. So we're right at about 7%, which is tax delinquency rate. I only bring this up because every once in a while we get hit up by agents and sometimes investors who are like, I want to buy tax sales. Listen, guys, that's not,
it's not readily available.
Well, and most folks like if there's a mortgage on a home, you're not going to buy it at a tax sale, right? Yeah. And so these are, if you're going to buy a property at a tax sale, most of the time what we find is if you're buying a property at tax sale, it's got hair on it. There's a reason that it's on tax sale. It's not
Well,
buildable lot. It's
sometimes,
too small. It's a weird
yeah,
shape, things like that. I'm not saying it's impossible to happen, but the other thing is you have to hold a tax sale for a full calendar year before you can apply for it. So, you'll see a lot of people trying to do different things out there on tax sales. Just be very leery of that and understand that, you can make 20% on your money on an annualized basis, but that's only if somebody really wants to get it back.
get it back.
Kind of thing.
So if they don't get it
A
back,
lot of
guess
times,
what?
a lot of times with the properties we see go up on tax delinquency sales,
You're looking at pretty much a land.
there's something stinky going on there, kind of thing. And we're seeing that home sizes are continuing to grow. We've seen this trend ever since coronavirus, basically, kind of thing. And when we started because we had been seeing a downtick in home sizes. And actually, this is one of those that I'm not real happy with. We need smaller homes. We need to see smaller properties. We need starter homes. Our biggest buying segment, millennials. They can't afford the bigger houses right now. And so they're looking for that starter home to begin out there. But this is where we're at right now. And so, obviously they didn't check with me first. But, we all, if you'll keep an eye out there in your market, you're going to see there's a lot more.
A couple of months ago about, hey, working from home. So now the buyer's looking for a bigger space.
Okay. But
looking for and versus what they can afford.
But right now we're also seeing a lot. We're going to go back to office, see how we argue. And then, but at the same time, like watch for what's happening in the building world. We're seeing so many new townhome markets. I mean, so many new townhome developments, like even here in Henry County, I got 170 townhomes going in off Eagles Landing Parkway, things like that. So all in the suburbs, we're seeing way more townhomes because that's one of those products that the builders can build and afford to build, and it makes it much more affordable. So expect to see more and more of those out there going on. We want to share this with you, and we're not saying this is good news or bad news, but guess where the #1 state where more people are getting their real estate license is?
Georgia.
Bingo.
Texas next, and then followed by Florida.
Now, it also happens to correspond that these, Georgia, Texas, and Florida are 3 of the hottest markets in the United States. The South is doing really, really well when it comes to housing and property appreciation and a whole 9 yards when it comes to housing. So we are seeing more and more real estate agents, but we want to keep it real that like if you want to get into real estate, because gosh, all I do is look at pretty houses all day and then cash checks. That's not reality, right? And I don't know anyone that does really good in real estate that doesn't bust their tail. No. And so if you just think this is a real easy way to get in, make a lot of money, not have to work hard, then you're in the wrong place. And so we have a pretty high fallout rate in real estate for folks that kind of get in and don't realize like when you get in real estate, you are your own boss. You are your own small company. You'll bless your broker to hang your license with them, but you own that company. And now you've got to be the one who gets up and drives that bus every single day. And so we love real estate. It's our passion. It's what we live for. But just don't think that this is some kind of weird, crazy get rich quick scheme kind of thing. If you're going to get in real estate, and for those of you that follow us and know this, you're going to work your tail off. And I'm proud of what we do, and I'm proud of what y'all do. So, for what it's worth, just wanted to throw that out there. This week in training, so we're going to be having tomorrow's our monthly sales meeting. We're going to be doing the whole seat patties thing because that's coming up here really soon. And then on Tuesday over in our Conyers office, we're going to be doing That's What She Said. This is going to be effective communication in real estate. And so that's going to be
Wednesday.
No, Wednesday. Yes, I can't. I have no idea what
Tuesday is our sales meeting. Wednesday is That's What She Said.
Yeah.
Talk about effective communication.
And then Thursday, somebody here is teaching. What are you teaching?
License law.
Over the airport office. And then I'm teaching Friday. I'll be at our Fayetteville office teaching real estate marketing and technology secrets. So if we can be of any kind of service, please let us know. Call, text, smoke signals. We do it all. Love y'all.
Thank you and have a great Monday.
Bye.